Boom! What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Sunday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. So today we're going to be taking a look at another one from Drekker Brewing Company. I kind of want to redeem myself from the last one I did from the Chonk line, just because that one foamed over to become a big mess. So I took the correct precautions today to, just in case if this one does foam over when I open it, that it's not going to get everywhere. So today we have a very, very interesting sounding one. So as you know, Drekker makes some pretty out there flavors when it comes to their Slang de Jour, their Chonk line, and all the kind of stuff. They recreate desserts and all that kind of stuff. That's what they try to do with all this. And this one is kind of different than the ones I've seen because, yeah, you can use fruits and all that kind of stuff, making like cobblers and all that stuff like that. But this one, they decided to imitate and recreate a carrot cake. Okay. So this one definitely intrigued me because they actually use carrot juice in this one, and you know, just for the use of carrot juice and all that kind of stuff, this one's going to have a very, very interesting color to it. And obviously it's the same kind of Slang de Jour can art that we know and love from Drekker. And on the gimmicks they show here, it's carrots, which is the carrot juice. They use cream cheese, granola, brown sugar, cinnamon, lactose, and vanilla beans. And of course the malts, pale two-row, carafoma, and wheat, which I wonder if it's a flaked wheat. And then for the hops they use Magnum hops, which is a very common hops to use in sours. And then of course the floras, which means like all the cultures and all kind of stuff, like the yeast cultures and all kind of things like that. So they have the lactobacillus, which is what they have to do to pretty much sour the beer when they're brewing it. So what happens after the initial boil, they're adding the lactobacillus, having to have it sit for 24 hours, and then being able to do like a 10-minute boil after that before you're transferring it over to the whirlpool and all that kind of stuff. So this, just because there's carrots and carrot juice in this, it's definitely gonna have a very interesting color. I was looking out on Tapped, and people have pictures of their pours and stuff on there, and it has a very, very deep orange color to it. So in my opinion, I don't know if it's going to look that like a crazy appealing when it comes to how it's going to look. Because when you pour a beer, you're not expecting a deep, deep orange color of a beer to kind of get poured out of there. But of course, there's always a couple steps you want to do before you drink this kind of style of beer. Of course, when you purchase it at a liquor store or bottle shop, you want to make sure it's cold at all times. So when you bring it home, put it right in the fridge. Just keep it in the fridge until you're going to drink it, because there's all the different stuff in there that can possibly ferment even more and cause CO2 buildup, and that can cause, when you open the can, a little bit of pressure to be released and start to foam over kind of situation. So after that, of course, a lot of beers recommend, when it comes to having a lot of puree and a lot of extra additives in it, they suggest just give you a couple gentle rolls on a countertop, which I do every time I get a fruited sour or fruited Berliner Weiss. Anything that has puree in it, I always kind of give it a nice roll on the countertop just to get everything moving and suspended. And then what I like to do is when I'm drinking something and bring it to where I'm going to drink it, I like to hold it upside down, because you want all the stuff that's been sitting on the bottom to kind of start getting circulated throughout the entire can, just so you can have a nice even pour. So I want this to taste like carrot cake. I'm a huge fan of carrot cake. Just, I would have never expected carrot juice to be in a beer. So that's what's kind of weirding me out on this one. So I think it's time for us to finally open this thing up and see what this thing's all about. So let's crack it open. Of course, I have a towel down here just in case if anything decides to go wrong. So let's open it and see what happens. Yep, I am glad I let down a towel. I'm glad I prepared for this. So a towel is down, a little foam over happened, which is weird. The past two Drekker beers, I don't know what the hell's going on with this stuff lately, but I'm getting foam over happening, and it's kind of disappointing because now, if you look, I have this happening, which normally shouldn't be happening. So this is going to be an interesting thing to when I try to pour this, because I'm going to try to keep it to where I'm not going to get any mess happening. So this is going to be a very, very slow pour kind of situation. Of course, now that this happened, I'm going to have to take a couple points off just because this shouldn't be happening. I don't know why this is happening. I'm keeping it refrigerated. I'm drinking it fresh. This is relatively new still, so I don't know why this stuff keeps overflowing on me. So it kind of smells like carrot cake. I'm getting the cream cheese thing going on there. Definitely getting hints of like cinnamon and like cinnamon sugar and all that kind of stuff. wipe off my wrist because now my wrist is going to be all freaking sticky. But obviously, now we have a little bit of a situation. So the pour is going to definitely be a little bit more difficult. I'm glad I put a towel down just because I don't want to have a mess on my damn carpet. So glad the towel was down. So let's try to pour this thing and see if I can get this to be a nice pour. So let's try it. Okay, just got to be really slow with it. So if it tends to foam over, you kind of just want to be very, very slow, kind of like almost a decanter kind of style of pour, where you're pouring it as slow as possible. Of course, I'm going to be drinking this out of my deciduous brewing company, little tulip, and like kind of almost, it's like a stem style glass without the actual stem on there. So I'm going to pour this really, really slow, just trying to get the best kind of situation happen, because I did lose a little bit from the initial foam over, which kind of sucks. I mean, this is a very, very disappointing situation that the past two beers from Drekker that I've got have foamed over like this. I don't know why, but it's just something weird that's happening. So here's what it's going to look like. Look at that. So that is what I told you guys about it kind of being a little bit interesting when it comes to how this beer is going to look. So, of course, when it foams over like that, you're going to get initial kind of bubbly stuff going on there. And let me tell you, this probably doesn't look the most appealing. I mean, you've seen some other fruited sours that I've done that kind of had a similar color to this, to where it's almost having like some tropical fruit, so maybe a little bit of a mango kind of situation to have this kind of similar color to it, but nothing this deep orange. So this is definitely, I'm going to see if I can get some of these bubbles popped, because a lot of this little bubbly situations is going to get all over the mustache and all that kind of stuff, so I'm going to try to get rid of that. But I want to know if this tastes like a carrot cake. I don't really want to taste too much of like carrot juice kind of situation. I want it to be balanced. I want it to be to the point to where it just doesn't taste like a bunch of ingredients put together. I want it to taste like the cohesive carrot cake flavor that they want to kind of replicate with this guy. So let's give this thing a try and see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. What is it? Yeah, Sunday. Happy Sunday. Okay. So there's definitely carrot cake flavors going through on this one. That's for damn sure. The carrots aren't, it isn't like a vegetal carrot kind of flavor. But to me, it's still also not like a cohesive, just this tastes like carrot cake. Of course, with some of the cobbler ones I've had, it tastes like a cobbler. So when it comes to this one, it's more of a kind of a flavor of, okay, the carrot juice isn't too vegetable. The cinnamon stuff isn't too overpowering and all that stuff. The bubbles are getting quite annoying. Let's get rid of those. But overall, it's not bad. It upsets me that it foamed over like it did. I don't know why. But the flavors are nice. Definitely is a nice sweetness. Really no tartness to this whatsoever. Of course, now my hand's all freaking sticky, so that's going to be annoying to deal with for the rest of the review. But yeah, it's solid. I wasn't sure what to expect with this kind of beer, just because there's a strong sweetness to it. There isn't any tartness at all. There's no sour flavor for me. But overall, yeah, it's not bad. It's almost to the point to where it tastes exactly like just drinking a carrot cake. It's very, very close. But it's not to that. There are still elements in this beer that kind of make it seem like they just added ingredients to kind of replicate a carrot cake, and not just trying to have enough of the ratios in there to make it just taste like an overall carrot cake experience. Like, to me, the cream cheese adds like a weird kind of mouthfeel to it, to where it kind of makes it a little bit more silky around the mouth. It might be. I wonder if the cream cheese had anything to do with a little bit of the foam over and more of the fermentation that happened. Even though, because carrot juice, maybe, but I feel like there's more sugars in cream cheese, and a little bit, because of course, cheese is a little bit of a fermentation kind of situation going on, to where this may have fermented a little bit more. Overall, the flavors are really, really nice, but I'm going to take off a little bit of a docket on here for it kind of foaming over, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So let's start looking here on Untappd and see what this guy is all about. So, of course, we like to read a description. Of course, there's a little bit of a description on the can, but let's read it, what it shows on Untappd. So it says, this Slang is loaded up with carrot juice, granola, cream cheese, cinnamon, and brown sugar and vanilla bean. And you guessed it, it tastes just like a damn slice of carrot cake. Which, like I said, it's pretty close. Very, very close. Like, I really enjoy the carrot juice in there. I think their carrot juice aspect in this beer is spot on when it comes to having it to be where it's not vegetal in one bit. I think that helps when they added maybe the granola, maybe the cinnamon in there helps get rid of the vegetal kind of note of the carrot juice. But you kind of get that Slang de Jour kind of token flavor with the granola and the brown sugar and the vanilla, all that kind of stuff. That's like going to be in every single Slang de Jour. It's going to be... But adding the cream cheese definitely leaves like a film. I feel it on my lips. I feel like a filminess on my tongue. But it's hard to explain. It's hard to kind of put into how it affects the mouthfeel. But it's creamy. It's not really boozy at all. It doesn't taste boozy, even though it's a 7.1% ABV. If I didn't mention that before, it's a 7.1, so it's still in that realm of being sessionable to me. So, overall, yeah, it's not bad. It's definitely not bad at all. I don't know what's with the Drekker stuff and kind of overflowing on me lately, but I don't want to say it's concerning, because I'm keeping this stuff refrigerated and it's still doing it. I don't know. And it's not like I'm leaving it in there for fucking 6 months to where it's still going to ferment in there. I don't know what the hell's going on. Something maybe when it comes to the recent stuff they've released, I don't know if they've changed anything, because for a while I had no problem with anything from Drekker kind of overflowing on me. When it comes to the brains, actually, now that I think about it, I've only had it happen to the more desserty kind of stuff. So I wonder if that kind of plays into where maybe the brown sugar and the vanilla and the granola puts into play, because when it comes to anything from the brains, I haven't had anything from the brains in a while, but any of the brain series stuff that I've had has never overflowed, because that's just strictly for puree in there. So I don't know. Maybe it's just I've just had bad luck with some of the stuff that I've got from Drekker lately when it comes to it overflowing. It just is what it is. But let's look here and see if we can find a similar beer to this one, because Untappd does a really cool thing to where they show similar beers to what you possibly would be looking for if you can't get your hands on this carrot cake Slang de Jour from Drekker. Untappd shows some similar beers to what maybe kind of give you a similar profile, even though this one's very, very specific, like how I did with the raspberry rice pudding. You're not going to find really much like it, because to get something that's going to taste like this, you're going to have to specifically look for something that's carrot cake or anything like that. For anything that's going to be specific to the chunk raspberry rice pudding, it has to be a raspberry, it has to be right like a rice pudding kind of flavor. You're not going to just find a beer that has, I don't know, similar flavors to this without using pretty much the same ingredients. So, and there's 3 of the beers on here that are Drekker similar beers, so I'm not really going to read those off. But then we got one here from the Fermentorium Beverage Co. called Blue Flowers. It's a fruited sour, 8%. Let's see, original batch Blue Flowers aged in wine barrels blended are... Okay, so that's interesting. That's aged in wine barrels, so that's going to be more of a barrel-aged sour, even though it's fruited. That one's going to have more of a wine kind of flavor. Definitely going to be more tart. But then we got one here called the Strawberry Pina Colada from Collective Arts Brewing, which 5.6%. Looks like kind of a little bit of a less kind of thick situation, but I think it's going to be a pretty decent... I would think it's going to be closer to a kettle sour than anything, even though it doesn't look like that there's that much puree in this one. But let's see. So finding a similar to beer to this one, I don't really think you're going to find something similar unless you get the exact thing, just because it's such a exact flavor profile. But overall, the flavors are nice. Definitely really, really nice. Of course, I'm going to take a little bit of points off in the final rating. With it being something that overflowed on me, it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So, let's look here And let's see. Of course, there's some nearby verified locations from me. So you got the Global Brew and Tap House in St. Charles. You got Orange and Brew Bottle Shop in Downers Grove. And then you got the Prestige 6249 Tap Room in Westmont. And then, of course, I'm looking at there's a place down south in Peoria called the 8-Bit Beercade. So I wonder if it's like an arcade that serves craft beer, which I think is pretty cool. But let's see here. Like I stated before, it's a 7.1%. Definitely consider this in the realm of being something that's sessionable. And with over 1,202 ratings, this one is an average rating of 3.83 out of 5, which is not bad. Not bad at all. It's weird. A lot of the stuff that I've been seeing from Drekker lately has been kind of last the two things from the Chunk and the Slang Jour have been around that like 3.8, 3.7 kind of average, or like some 3.9s. It's interesting here. So when I purchased this one from Tavour, I thought I got it local, but I didn't. I remember I picked it up from Tavour. I've noticed that with this one specifically, I had to buy two. There was no option to buy one. So I bought two of these and gave it to my father. Because he has tried some of the more pastry sours that I've tried, and he's enjoyed them. So he checked it in. He only gave it a 2 out of 5, and I'll give you the reason why here. So he purchased off Tavour, and he says, "I'm not a carrot cake fan, but this lives up to the carrot cake taste. I had to give it a chance. Completely not for me. 2 sips, and I gave it away." So he gave it to somebody else to drink. So overall, and then when Tucky commented on it saying it does pique my interests. So there's some situations to where you can only buy 2 off Tavour. A lot of the times when I buy my Drekker stuff off of Tavour, I'm able to buy 1 can because I know it's not going to be something that my father is probably going to go to when it comes to the style of beer that he enjoys. This is definitely not one of them. So carrot shavings in her salad. I call it rabbit food. But hey, if you like carrots, you're definitely going to like this beer, I think. The cream cheese, like I said, is adding a really, really weird kind of mouthfeel to this one with like the after mouthfeel. It's creamy throughout the drink and when it's in your mouth, but afterwards it's almost like I want to say it's oily when it comes to how your mouth feels afterwards, but it literally has like you just took like a little bit of cream cheese in your mouth, just cream cheese by itself, and that kind of film that it leaves on your mouth afterwards. But let's look at the global rating. Let's see what other people had to say about this one. So let's see. This person gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Purchase off Tavour. Let's see. We got a 4. Purchase off Tavour. And a lot of these guys are giving some nice even pours. And that's on the same day that they're... So this guy drank it 2 hours ago. This guy drank it 15 hours ago. And it doesn't look like theirs foamed over at all, which is disappointing. And let's see here. We got a 4.75 out of 5 saying, "Carrot cake is a fave of mine. This is so good. Thanks for the brew, my friends. You are the best." So I wonder if he got this from some friends. Let's see. This person gave it a 3 out of 5. This person gave it a 4. Let's see. We got a 3.25 here. We got another 3.25. We got a 4.5. We another 4.5 here purchased at the Bottle Shop of Grafton, which looks like it's in Grafton, Wisconsin, which of course around the Midwest, I would say this is probably a good area where you could find stuff from Drekker. This person gave it a 2. And he gave a pretty interesting explanation why. He said, "Man, I wanted this to be so much better. It's drinkable, don't get me wrong, but not quite sure where the carrot cake taste is. Also, the cream cheese chunks are a little weird." So when he drank this one, I wonder if his was a little chunky. Let's see, when it comes to adding cream cheese to a beer, I think that would be very, very difficult to kind of make it a smooth kind of pour. I think they kind of went over their market a little bit with making this one, even though it's delicious. They kind of made a carrot cake beer and adding all those ingredients for the sake of just making it. They really didn't. To me, I don't think Drekker thought of what if it was needed or not, to be honest. I mean, the flavors are good in this, but in my opinion, I don't think a carrot cake style of a Slang Jour was really necessary, because you got to look at the cream cheese and all, like people making comments of cream cheese chunks and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's just, and plus it's a very, very acquired taste. I feel like now with all the different stuff that I'm seeing Drekker release when it comes to their Slang Jours and their chunks, they're kind of going a little overboard, which for me, I just recommend them just kind of slowing down a little bit, keeping it more simple when it comes to flavor profiles, because this is pretty much, for me, it's too complex to do in a beer. Even though it tastes delicious, it's definitely too complex of ingredients and a flavor profile to actually imitate it correctly. Even though they did a pretty damn good job and got really, really close, to me it was a little unnecessary for a carrot cake kind of style of beer, especially with all the ingredients that they added. So let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings over here on Iron with this guy. So I poured the rest of it in there. Can art's nice. I always like the Slang Jour can art. It has a lot of colors, and of course the theme when it comes to how they color that label depends on what kind of thing they're trying to imitate. So with it being a carrot cake, there's definitely a lot of oranges going through, different shades of orange coming through this one. It's very nice, vibrant, definitely catches your attention if you saw it at a liquor store or bottle shop, and I never have anything to complain about when it comes to the marketing that Drekker does. Their logo is solid, their can art is always really, really good. So for can art, I'm still easy to give it a 5 out of 5 because that's some of the best marketing that is out there when it comes to craft beer right now. I'd put them in at least my top 5 for how they market and use their can art correctly. So let's see. If I got this beer in a flight over at Drekker Brewing Company, would I get another one? To be honest, probably not. Like I said, I enjoy the flavors. I enjoy that it tastes really, really close to a carrot cake. But how I stated earlier, that for me, it's a little bit unnecessary for it to be like this. Like, I don't know, having that kind of adding cream cheese. I don't want to say I'm a simplistic guy when it comes to the fruited sours. Like, I understand using specific ingredients and all that kind of stuff. Trying to recreate flavors of a cobbler. Cobbler is definitely a little bit more simple of something to replicate than trying to replicate a carrot cake, because that's very, very complex and with ingredients you have to add. So I feel like that has more room for things to go wrong, especially in the canning process as well. But it is what it is. So I'd probably be fine with having one of these in a flight and being okay with not getting another glass of this. So with that being said, what is my final rating on this guy going to be? I'm going to give it a solid, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. For me, 6 out of 10 is where I'm going to leave it. Of course, that's kind of playing with with it being having the foam over when I opened it. Of course, that has to play part into it, even though I did everything correctly when it comes to storing it. Like how I stated, it's a little bit unnecessary of a beer to me. So overall, the flavors are good, but to me, it's just an unnecessary beer. I'm kind of to the point to where when it comes to my stick and smoothie sours, I'm a little bit leaning towards just having fruit in there, or kind of just a really simple kind of dessert kind of flavor, like a blackberry cobbler or like a singular berry, and having those cobbler kind of flavors in there, because a lot of times it's nice. It's nice. The cobblers that I've had from them are absolutely fantastic, and they're fruity. They're having that little kind of pastry kind of note in there. But to me, this one was just unnecessary. So overall, it still tastes good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just an unnecessary beer. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it with a 6 out of 10 for this one. If you guys want to give it a try and see if you're more of a carrot cake fan than I am, if you want to drink carrot cake, this is probably the closest you're going to get to it. I'm going to be straight up honest. This is going to be the closest you're going to get to finding a carrot cake kind of style beer that's almost exactly like carrot cake. So take that for what it is. But other than that, let's see. I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live doing another review. I think I have some reviews planned for the next few days, so keep an eye out for those. Of course, you can follow me on all my social media platforms. When it comes to Instagram, you'll see what I'm going to be reviewing daily and all that kind of stuff whenever I'm doing reviews. Plus, you'll see things I'm doing over at the brewery, over at Fibs, when it comes to new possible beer releases and a little bit of a brewing kind of situations that's going on there. I'll kind of give little stories. And so keep an eye out for that if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Also, if you're a fan of craft beer, and you guys hear me talk about Untappd all the time, I highly recommend getting yourself over to Untappd if you're a fan of craft beer. It's a fantastic platform. You can get it on Android or iPhone. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers, to be honest. It's really, really easy to use. It's just a fun platform. You could see people like me, Kentucky, Ian, Duchess is on there. A bunch of us are on there. We're trying to get Rhett's Beard on there. Hopefully he kind of takes the hint and all that kind of stuff. But last but not least, if you want to support me a little bit more, it would help me get some money in my pocket to get more beer reviews out here for you guys and possibly give back to you guys as well. I do have a Patreon available to where I also do monthly 4-pack giveaways of Illinois exclusive craft beer. We've had a few winners already, 3 winners I think we've drawn already, so it's a fun time over there. It's a good crew over on my Patreon. Plus, I'm waiting to fill up a little bit more for me to possibly get a Discord started. Thinking about when it comes to the availability to get like merch, shirts. You can get. I'm thinking about working with some glassware, getting some glassware out there, coasters, koozies, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to support me by helping me get some money in my pocket, so I can keep doing this for you guys, the Patreon is always available. The link to that is down in the description below. But other than that, that is what I have for you guys today. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing, and I'm ending this like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're gonna drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive, and I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.